Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the CLSR. And I'm your host, the counselor. And I can tell you right now that we have some people out there who have their friends, and they could be lifelong friends. However, they cease being lifelong friends due to jealousy. It's a very big problem that we have in this society, friend jealousy. Now, how do we get past that jealousy, especially of your best friends? Well, you do need to know that all of us feel jealous of our best friends from time to time. And of course, if I were to ask you if you do get jealous of your best friend, of course, many of you are going to say, no, there's no way. I'm totally secure. You got to be honest. Do you feel jealous of your best friend from time to time, occasionally? Well, just know that jealousy is a negative emotion that occurs when you want what someone else has. The thing that causes jealousy might include a material possession, an award, accolade, a friendship, love, money, or just experiences. While jealousy can be experienced by anyone at any time, it is unhealthy to be jealous of people you love. But you got to work on yourself and consider your insecurities. Often, when you figure out what your insecurities or challenges are, you will be able to build them into strengths, which will prohibit feelings of jealousy. While it isn't an easy task to examine yourself for your flaws, it must be done, however. Remind yourself that you are more than just your insecurities. Try to keep a positive mindset while identifying areas in which you are insecure. Remind yourself of things you do feel confident in or like about yourself. Remember that you can change any insecurity into a strength with time and effort. Like perhaps you are lonely and want to make more friends, but you are not outgoing. Practice being outgoing and friendly towards strangers, and eventually you will have turned your shyness into friendliness and you'll have made new friends. Think about it. We can overcome this jealousy by building our self esteem. See, self esteem is how you feel about yourself as a person. There are many ways to work on your self esteem, including recognizing your strengths. Are you good at school? Do you excel at sports? Are you a fair listener or a trusted secret keeper for your friends? Actively engaging in activities you are good at can remind you of your strengths and build self esteem. Keep a list of every compliment you received over the course of a week. Read over these compliments when you are feeling insecure. Working on your challenges, perhaps you are terrible. You got to work on them, right? Let's say you're terrible at bowling and your best friend is a good bowler. You can improve your bowling through practice. And it's so important that you learn to find happiness inside yourself. It's easier to become jealous of people around you if you aren't happy with yourself. Feelings of inadequacy increase the likelihood that you will experience jealousy. You can find happiness in yourself by focusing on internal strengths. When you focus on external factors such as popularity or earning potential, those things could shift and your self esteem could crumble. When you focus on internal factors, your self esteem is built on a much more stable foundation and you will be happier with yourself. Practicing daily intentions, just remind yourself that you are capable of giving and receiving love, attention, respect, and that you are deserving of these things. Post them somewhere visible, such as on your mirror or your computer. Consider saying them out loud each day. Visual prompts can be very helpful for your affirmations. Reclaim your power over your emotions. Do not let your emotions hold control over you, as this will create a reactive state of emoting. Instead, you want to acknowledge that every emotion you feel is a choice. You have chosen to allow yourself to feel what you are feeling, and you are in control of your emotion. When you begin to feel jealous or angry, remind yourself that you are being reactive and choose to stop feeling that way. You do have choice. Ask yourself what you are feeling and if you want to feel this way. If you do not want to feel this way, take some deep breaths and focus on the emotion you want to feel instead. Make the choice to feel the way you want to feel. If you want to feel happiness, focus on being happy. Identify what makes you happy and maintain a positive mental attitude. You got to explore where these feelings of jealousy come from. You're going to have to ask yourself, what is causing you to feel jealous? It's important to identify the root of your jealousy. While you may initially believe that you are jealous of something superficial, but once you begin to look at your feelings of jealousy more deeply, you will realize that there is likely one specific root of your jealousy which you can change. You got to ask yourself vital questions. Are you jealous of your best friend because you think she is prettier than you? What makes her prettier than you? Is it her haircut, her clothing, or her makeup? Is it the way she carries herself or her self confidence? If you are jealous of your best friend's haircut, you can go to the salon to have your hair done in a similar style. If you are jealous of her clothing or makeup, you can go shopping for new clothing or makeup for yourself. If you're jealous of the way she carries herself, you can work on your posture, your poise, and your self confidence. And pretty soon you'll be carrying yourself in a new way. Once you've figured out what specifically you are jealous of, you can begin to work on yourself to overcome that jealousy. You're really going to have to do some work. I'd like you to disconnect your emotions from the situation that triggered them and then analyze them. Ask yourself if what you're jealous of will matter a year from now. Often you are jealous of something fleeting and trivial. Once you've analyzed your feelings free from the situation, you may come to realize that you are feeling jealous for irrational or unreasonable reasons. If this is the case, remind yourself that you are being irrational and check your jealousy. Like, irrational person who is in control of their emotions would not feel jealous of their best friend when a third party compliments their best friend's shoes. If you find yourself being jealous of your best friend in this moment, remind yourself that your friend did not ask for the compliment, that your best friend's shoes are awesome, and that you've got some great shoes on too, even if they have not yet been noticed. There's no need to be jealous for such a trivial reason. Stop comparing yourself to others. I find that many of us get into challenges and problems when we start comparing ourselves. Sometimes you just can't compare yourself. You got to accept you for you. However, that's just the way it is. When you live your life constantly comparing yourself to others, you will create insecurities and recognize disparities that will breed jealousy. Instead, try to compare yourself only to yourself. Like, possibly take a break from social media until your self esteem is better. Social media gives you the impression that everyone else's life is perfect and full of abundance. Remember what you were doing and what you had a year ago and compare yourself to that person. This will highlight you and your personal successes and gains, which will help build your self esteem and diminish your tendency to feel jealous. Make a list of the things that you were doing, the goals you had, and the successes in your life a year ago. Next, make a list of the things you're currently doing, the goals you currently have, and the successes in your life now. You might also note the goals you achieved in specific terms, not generalities. Own your jealousy. I don't care, own it. Once you've recognized the root of your jealousy and you've come up with the solution, talk to your best friend. For you might tell your best friend that you are jealous of her because she had the haircut that you wanted, and ask her if she would be okay with you getting the same haircut. You might even ask her if she could recommend her salon to you. Turn this into a bonding moment that could strengthen your friendship. Acknowledge that your feelings are your own and that you are in control of them. Instead of saying, "Your hair makes me so jealous," try, "I feel jealous of your hair. You've got a great cut." In this way, you're using I statements rather than you statements to talk about your jealousy. Also, own where your jealousy could be coming from, such as a history of being bullied or an abusive relationship. Practice open communication. Sometimes just talking to your best friend can solve the issue. Be honest about the way that you feel, and be sure that you don't project your feelings onto them. As I said, Use the I statements. I feel this way about, or make sure that your communication is two-way, meaning that you listen closely to your best friend's response to your declarations of jealousy. Try to work to overcome your jealousy by talking about it. Encourage your friend to share their feelings with you. Return to the reason you are friends. If you are still unable to abate your jealousy, even after working on yourself, identifying the root of your jealousy, and talking to your friends about it, then it is time to remind yourself of the importance of your friendship. Often, that will be enough to ease your feelings of jealousy. What makes you best friends in the first place? Think about your favorite memories together. Understand that your jealousy could destroy your friendship if you don't put it in check. Ask yourself, which is more important to you, your friendship or your jealousy? Make sure that you are not feeling jealous because your friend is hypocritical or hard on you and makes you feel inferior to them. If this is the case, then this may be a good friendship, actually worthwhile. There will be a number of you out there that you will never admit that you're jealous of your friends. It's just hard or almost impossible for you to do. But if you're having problems in your relationship and your friend even says it to you, or even a colleague says it to you, you appear to be jealous, a lot of us get defensive because of this. But I think what's really important is that we recognize and understand our jealousy. We first have to admit and recognize that we have a problem. Before you can begin to tackle your jealousy, you need to admit that it's a real problem, that it is taking over your life and keeping you from loving the person that you are. Jealousy can be truly debilitating and can keep you from reaching your goals and becoming a better person. There are some indicators that you can look to decide if you are very insecure, if you're having some jealousy issues. If you spend most of your time wishing you had what others have instead of appreciating what you have, or if you are constantly comparing yourself to your friends, family members, and co-workers and finding that you always come up short. If you are jealous of a specific person and can't hang out with her for 5 minutes without wishing that you had her clothes, her looks, and her attitude. If you are jealous of all your friends' relationships and wish your relationships could be half as good as theirs. If you are in a relationship and you can't stand it when your significant other interacts with anyone of the opposite sex, you are convinced that every other girl has only one goal: to steal your friend. If you're so obsessed that you are constantly looking at your significant other's Facebook or even his phone or email for signs that he is cheating on you, that's problematic. And if you can't go more than a few minutes without comparing your relationship with your career or your family to the relationship, careers, and family of others you meet, definitely a problem. If you are incredibly jealous whenever one of your friends hangs out with a new friend, and if this makes you ask, what's wrong with me? Then we have a real issue. You're going to have to do some reflection. Once you admit that you have a real problem with jealousy and want to tame the ugly green dragon you have to understand why you are having feelings of jealousy to begin with. We talked about the causes. Like if you feel like you are missing out on what others have, right? Think about it. Are you jealous of just one aspect of your friends' lives? If you're only jealous of your friends' romantic relationships because yours doesn't stack up to theirs, then you should try to improve your relationship on its own terms or end the relationship if it's not worth saving. Are you jealous of your best friend because she's pursuing her career as an artist while you're afraid to take that step? This may be a sign that you should rethink your career path. Are you jealous of absolutely everything anyone has? If you think that you don't have anything that people could be jealous of, then you are suffering from insecurity and a lack of confidence. You need to work on improving how you view yourself before you can move on from your jealousy. Are you jealous of the way your friends look? We've talked about this. There's sometimes some situations your friend's going to be prettier than you, and there's nothing you can do. But however, some of you, and you know if you're telling the truth, you're hanging with that person because they are prettier than you. However, it only tends to bother you when someone starts comparing you. then these ugly feelings come along. And you're cool other than that. But once somebody indicates that there are some differences, you really start to get your back up. You become quite defensive, argumentative, and sometimes aggressive because you don't want to be compared. Or when you're with people at a party and you know your friend's prettier, so you try to keep yourself away from there so that they don't get all the attention when you're in the room. We all want to be number one for sure, but sometimes we just can't be. Sometimes we have to be humble and we have to learn that yes, we can improve our situation in many cases, but there are a few that you might not be able to do this. So if you do want to improve your situation and improve who you are, if you are a chronically jealous person, then the chances are that you feel that you are not a person who is worthy of admiration because you are not exciting, interesting, dynamic. It's time to work on making yourself into a person who has no reason to be jealous because you're so happy with who you are. And you could develop your self confidence by writing down all the things you love about yourself, make that list, work to address many flaws as you can, and you will start feeling better about who you are. If you feel better about being in your own skin, you will be much less likely to be jealous. One of the most common reasons to be jealous is for material reasons. If you're jealous of a friend who has a lot of money or whose family has a lot of money, while you do not, you should accept that you won't be able to buy all the things that they can. Instead, make your money count. Save up your money to buy just a few items for your wardrobe or apartment that will make you feel good about what you have. Work on your body if you're jealous of your friend because of maybe they're skinny or if he has rock hard abs. Start hitting the gym more often in order to reach that goal. Remember, while everyone is born with a unique body, you still can control and you do have a lot of control over how that body could look. However, if you think that everyone around you looks better than you do and that there's nothing you can do to change that, then you may have a body image problem and should seek some help, some professional help, just to get you back to reality. Remember, you got to be yourself. You won't beat your jealousy if you're obsessed with doing what your friends do, looking like your friends, or having the same relationship your friend has. No two people are alike, and you'll only feel worse if you're trying to emulate someone else. Though different people should inspire us in different ways. Don't forget that you are a unique individual and never compare yourself to anyone. Improve what you do. You may be jealous of others because you can't stand the things you do on a daily basis. To avoid this, you should be proud of the work you do and should be excited to pursue other interests. If you're pursuing your own goals and interests, you're doing fine, right? Just do more things you love. Become more cultured by reading more poetry, plays, novels, or work on developing useful skills such as knitting or fixing furniture. The more you do to improve yourself, the more happy you'll be to be you. Work on your career if you're jealous of someone for following their dreams or jealous of someone who got a promotion. You should either work harder at your own job or think about changing career paths so you can do what you really want. Set goals for yourself and reach them. Keep it small. If you've never run before, train to run a 5K without stopping to walk. If you succeed in this goal, you'll be proud of what you're capable of and try to set other goals for yourself as well. Improve your relationship. If you are jealous of someone for having so many friends or maintaining an awesome relationship, it's likely that there is something lacking in your own relationships. Try to spend more time engaged in meaningful conversations or activities with your friends or work on having open and honest relationships. If you're happy with who you are, you won't have half the issues, right? Especially if you're happy with who your friends or significant others are, then you would have no reason to want the relationship others have. If you have a strong relationship, then you will already feel validated and secure. If you have a friendship that is based on jealousy, it may be time to end it. If you feel that you have a friend who tries to constantly make you jealous by bragging about all the things that they have, it may be time to move on. You can improve your relationship. Improve your relationship with your family. If you don't spend enough time with your family, you may be jealous of the close relationship others have with their family members. Make the effort to call home or hang out with other folks more often, and you will feel better about your relationship. Improve your love life. If you're in a serious relationship, work on having honest and open communication to help you address the things that aren't working. If you're single, work on being happy with being unattached and being excited to find someone in the future instead of spending your time being jealous of everyone in a committed relationship. Just try to work on your outlook. Remind yourself how lucky and fortunate you are. When you're blinded by jealousy, it's impossible to see things objectively and to understand how fortunate you truly are. Remind yourself that you're lucky just to have running water, food to eat whenever you want it, good health, even access to a computer. You can just try to understand how fortunate you are compared to most people in the world. We forget this too often. We're going to have to remind ourselves that many people in the world do not have many basic things that you take for granted. It's likely that you've never had to deal with real hunger, that you're healthy and can see a doctor fairly easily, that you have enough clothes to stay warm, and that you don't feel oppressed in the place where you live. This is more than many people can say. I mean, COVID-19 should also give you a wake up call that there are people out there dying, people who don't have food, people who are living in cramped spaces and they don't have a choice, they don't have open spaces to live in. They're a lot less fortunate than ourselves. But we forget this because sometimes we're caught up in our own jealousy. Understand that you have many things people would be jealous of. Make a list of at least 20 things you have that people would want. It could be as basic as running water or more elaborate, like the ability to talk to make anyone laugh. Understand that anyone you're jealous of doesn't have a perfect life. Be realistic about the people you are jealous of. Make a list of the things that they have that you are jealous of. And then ask yourself if you have anything they would want. Like, you may be jealous of your friend's amazing relationship, but she could be wishing that she had two loving, doting parents like you have. You may be jealous of your friend's new promotion, while she could be wishing that she was a talented artist like yourself. I believe it's time that we can get out of our jealousy if we start looking at being more of a generous person. If you spend more time helping others, you will not only feel better about yourself for being more generous, but you will have a better understanding of what you have that others would be grateful for. Volunteer in your community to get a concrete sense of how fortunate you are. You can volunteer in your community to help people learn English, read, or get enough food at a soup kitchen. Being around people whose basic needs may not be met will remind you how fortunate you are in your own life. Help out the people you know. Help a friend who is going through a relationship issue, or motivate your friend who is struggling in their class to finish their school. Understand the hardships of others. This will make you see that everyone is struggling in their own way and that you're not the only person who wants to improve your life. Do the little things for someone you love. Help a friend give a ride to a friend whose car broke down. You'll feel like a more helpful person, and you will appreciate what you have even more. There's too many of us who have not come to terms with who we are. You're going to have to reflect on your jealousy, and working to make yourself a better person can go a long way in addressing your problem. Still, you have to understand that no matter what you do, you will never be perfect and that there will always be things you want. Realize that life isn't fair. You won't be able to have everything you want, no matter how hard you try. And there may be people who are truly more fortunate than you are. But once you accept this fact, you can let go and stop trying to have it all. Stop chasing the Joneses. Enjoy being yourself. You may be a flawed individual like everyone else, but make time to enjoy your quirks and really learn to love being you. Make time for alone time and really appreciate your own company. Focus on your positive qualities. Though there still may be a few things you lack, focus on the parts of your life that you love, such as your relationship or your family or your amazing job. Emphasize the things you have and love instead of thinking about the things you want. Avoid jealousy in the future if you can. Once you've worked as hard as you can to beat the jealousy that was taking over your life, you still need to make sure that it doesn't become a part of your future where you can't function properly. There are a few things that you can do to make sure you don't see that jealousy in the future. Like, never take anything for granted. Every morning, remind yourself of at least 10 things you're grateful for. Make a routine of this. This will reinforce that you are a person who should not be jealous. Avoid situations that may lead to jealousy. If you can't help being a little jealous as a girlfriend or boyfriend, don't date a guy or girl who tends to hang out with a lot of females. And vice versa. If you have a friend who seems to have everything and who you can't stop being jealous of, try to spend less time with them, which makes you feel bad about yourself when you are spending too much time with them. So you want to eliminate some of that. You want to give yourself a break. Recognize your jealousy. As soon as you realize that you're getting jealous of someone again, go home and reflect in a notebook. Why are you jealous of this person? How can you work to stop the jealousy before it gets out of control? Right? Remember that it's healthy to be jealous once in a while. Don't beat yourself up if you can't stop being jealous about absolutely everything. If your friend just got a brand new car and you wish you could afford one, or if your friend just announced that they're getting married while you really wish you had a boyfriend, it's okay to feel jealous for a little while. When jealousy consumes your life and informs your every action, then you have a real issue. Jealousy is quite common in society, and we do have to say that if we're really looking at what's really going on, even the sales, the media, the propaganda machine that's at play in society, they're always trying to sell us something, something new that they say is better for us or good for us, trying to convince us to get the latest and the greatest and the next best thing. And this creates competition, and this creates comparisons, and this creates problems. See, a lot of the times we see people buying things that are more expensive to make themselves feel good, but if we can't afford to get those things, then we become frustrated. And if it's our friends who are trying to feel good about themselves, which a lot of us do when we purchase items, a lot of people are purchasing items for their home, for themselves, to feel good about themselves. And sometimes, and it's very common, people hear or they're aware and they try to emulate what you're doing or copy what you're doing. And it's just a world of comparison and competition, and there's wonderful things in the world, but this is a reality that we live in. And for you to live into reality, you got to realize that you're going to have to find ways to accept yourself. And there will be things that you might not be able to change. There's a lot that you can, but sometimes if you look at simply looking at life from this perspective, try your best to focus on what you need in comparison to what you want, because then you start to live a simpler life. You don't have to chase the next best thing. You don't have to switch who you are. It actually makes you feel better about yourself when you get your basic needs met. And you know what? Once in a while, when things come along, you feel good about yourself. I think when it comes to jealousy, we have to work on ourselves and making ourselves feel good about ourselves. And we have to find ways to do this. And sometimes you can't. You're sitting there, you're stuck. You're not really sure what you're going to do with yourself because you're like, you know what? I just don't feel good. There's something about me that's not feeling good. And, if you ask me what's good about me, I can't even say it. We're not used to loving ourselves and taking care of ourselves. And I really recommend that my listeners um, look up my podcast on how to love yourself, because sometimes we love other people, but we fail to show ourselves love. And when other people tell us about ourselves, we get shy, a little timid, or we go, stop it, whatever. We don't accept it. We don't accept how wonderful we are. So when we see other people getting it, and we push it away, but other people get these compliments and they accept it, you know we have a tendency to look at them and give them love, but then when we compare ourselves to them, we have a problem. So the world that we live in, we have to look at, there are certain things that we can't control. And there are others that we can. Much of it you can control. But I really recommend that we look at the world and we see how fortunate that we are. And this is just a passing feeling. And if you find that you're jealous of a friend, you might have to move on from a friend if it's becoming too much. And watch what you're hearing. Some of your friends may be your friends, but they might feel that they have a little power over you, and they might use that power because they look so good and they know you look so good. And you know what? They might feel that they're going to use that on you. They know that they look good and they keep flaunting in front of you. Well, you got to be able to gauge how much you can handle as an individual. And I think it starts within. And if you find that you're in a relationship where you have to do that, that's not really a good relationship, not good for you. So I strongly recommend that you be yourself and appreciate who you are and go where you're loved and find love, genuine love, by being genuine. Because the more, see, when people get jealous, they have a tendency to do things that they're not accustomed to doing just to make up for their insecurities or their perceived flaws. So you don't want to be that person. You want to be genuine. You got to have some good things in your life, but they have to be genuine, things that you can control. Too many of us are trying to attach ourselves to things that we can't control. And when we can't control them, we get frustrated and we lash out. Well, it's okay to not be able to control everything. It's okay to be who you are and to appreciate who you are. And little steps to improve yourself. And if you find that that's too much with your peers, slow it down and take care of yourself. That's what we have to do. We have to take care of ourselves and stop comparing ourselves to others. And it's a little jealousy is okay once in a while, just as long as it's not getting to the point where it's breaking down all your relationships or breaking you down because you're a little lost. If you're doing too much when it comes to jealousy, where you're fighting, you're arguing, or you're ignoring, if you're going out of your way or you're not functioning how you need to function and it's problematic, you might need to get some counseling to talk about it, to discuss what's going on with you, because a lot of times we say, oh, let's do some self-evaluation. However, sometimes that may take some work, and the counselor always recommends that you speak with somebody so that they can talk to you and you can figure out what's deep down inside, because usually there's something going on when this jealousy has a tendency to rear its ugly head and be problematic. So I want to say, be like the wise old bird and spread the word. Okay, take care of yourself.